You are now tuning in to the Going North podcast with your host, best-selling author, professional speaker, and member of the John Maxwell team, Dominic Dom Brightman. And every Monday and Thursday, we're going to hear the voice of a different author sharing their gifts, stories, and expertise to help you charge forward in life. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Going North podcast, we bring you some fabulous humans from across the globe. Today is no different. My goodness, we got a powerhouse for you today, ladies and gents and ladies, because my goodness, my guest today, husband to one and a father to seven, and the host of the wildly popular Facebook Live show, #Rise and Grind. That's right, folks, rise and grind. Because this guy right here, he's been rising and grinding himself because he's been seen at places like Hustle and GrindCon, Grow Your Business for God's Sake, and many more stages across the country. This superstar right here has been spotlighted on ABC, NBC, and CBS, and is an expert in dealership culture development and leadership training with over 20 years. You heard that right, folks. 20 years of experience in the automotive industry. And not only that, this awesome dude right here has led a dealership from just 120 cars a month to over an 800% increase in sales in 5 years. You heard that right, folks. 800%. To becoming the second largest used car franchise in the country. So let's give it up for the one, the only GL himself, Mr. Glenn Lundy. How you doing today, man?
Man, I am great. And I appreciate you taking the time, man. I was just thinking if you could just come to my house and just read that intro, like read that bio to my kids every morning, right when they wake up or something, that would be great, man. I would appreciate that so much, man. No, I love that, man. Honored to be here.
Woohoo! Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Great to have you on, man. My dude is one heck of a trailblazer. My goodness, leading a dealership to 800% growth, like that's exponential growth, man.
Yeah, we hit it hard. We hit it hard, and we were able to do something that nobody else has ever been able to do in our industry, and we were able to do it in a very small town, population only 9,600 people. So that was an incredible season for me. Spending time with that group, I learned so much, I grew so much, and we got to celebrate a lot. When you're breaking records month after 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 month, we got to celebrate a lot. So that was really just an incredible season all around.
And that's freaking amazing, man. And that's a testament, too, because a small town of only 9,600 people and folks really seeking you out like that. That's a testament to doing something really good.
Yeah, it's interesting the world we live in today, man. Like we used to be restricted. We had a lot of restrictions just 15, 20 years ago, where you placed your business had to do with per capita and populations and what highway was close and who was your competition within 5 to 10 miles. Like these are all things that you had to consider. And now, the world is our playground. We've removed all of the barriers, and it's now possible to reach and do business with people all over the United States of America. It's incredible.
Yeah, you can see that again. Like a couple folks I've been chatting with for the past couple months, they drove all the way to Virginia from Maryland just to buy themselves a new car. And I'm like, man, it's like
That's
there
right,
must be
man.
some secret deals I don't know about.
Yeah, man. People will, if you give them the opportunity, if you help them find you, then people, if they trust you and you give them the right deal, they'll go out of their way to do business with you. It's beautiful, really.
Heck yeah, that's right. Definitely more beautiful than the sunrise is sometimes, right? That's right. Rising sun, rising bank accounts, rising attitudes in terms of from good to great. That's right. Heck, even the
So,
rising cake in the oven.
yeah, there you go.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, the fabulous news about this is that behind every powerhouse, there is one heck of a powerhouse of a story that led to your exponential growth that you've had and that continues to happen. So, for those who been living under all the rocks and don't know the backstory of Mr. Glenn Lundy himself, mind filling us in?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, I've got a we all have a story, and I basically have two seasons of my life. I have a season that was filled with poor choices, lots of partying, homelessness. I've been to jail. There's addictions that I've had to face. There's depression, suicidal things like that, right? Like there's that season of my life, which took place basically in my 20s, from 24 to 30 years old, somewhere right in there. There's that kind of season, and then there's the season, the post season after that, where I've met my wife, and now we have seven beautiful children, and I've really been focusing on growing as an individual and my ability and my opportunity to make an impact in other people's lives. And so that's history wise, I grew up in Flagstaff, Arizona, and over time, through that kind of season of poor choices, I ultimately ended up out here in Kentucky, which is where I live now. And throughout both of those seasons, one thing that was a constant and that was consistent is that I was good at sales, always good at sales. And the automotive industry just ran through my blood, man. I love the auto industry. I love making an impact in people's lives when it comes to such a large purchase. I love making an impact in people's lives when it comes to employment opportunities and things like that. So when I landed here in Kentucky and met my wife, we decided I'd get back into the auto industry. And the dealership that I happened to work for out there in Paris, Kentucky, a little small town, just gave me some opportunities to really create something new, to be able to create something new and something the industry had never seen before. We literally created just an incredible work environment where people could grow and thrive. And as I was growing personal development wise, I was making sure to pour into all of my employees, and they were growing personal development wise as well. So I always tell people, like, don't just teach people job skills, let's teach people life skills. And when you start pouring into individuals and teaching them real life skills, how to be in strong relationships, how to develop relationships with their kids, how to develop financial relationships with their money, how to become outstanding and upstanding citizens in their community. When you teach people these things, your business is able to grow, like you said earlier, exponentially, because it's really the growth and the rise, as you would say, of all of the individuals that make up that business that leads to that exponential growth.
And it's really great that you mentioned like not only the power of sales, really, if you're able to master that skill and really let it flow through you, you can actually transform your life for the better. And the fact that you actually used some of those skills with some additional skills, at least pairing up with leadership skills to be able to help others really get that fulfillment for their lives too.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. We've got a born on date and an expiration date, and that little dash in the middle is just that dash is all about the impact that you can make in other people's lives. That's what it's all about.
That's right. That huge impact indeed. Bigger than five boulders, maybe. So, with all of these years of developing people, what will probably be the three things that you think people should keep in mind when, at least from a leadership or even management perspective, when it comes to serving people?
As far as three things that they should keep in mind, the first thing that I would suggest that people know and understand is you have to learn what it truly means to lead, right? If you're going to be put in a position to be able to impact other people, you need to take it seriously. and study what it means to be a true leader. So of course you've got, the John Maxwell's, you've got 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. You've got lots of books and resources on how you can lead, but I like to break it down into an acronym. If you spell out the word lead and then add an extra D on the end, so we've got LEADD. And I truly believe that if you follow this system, this equation, you can ultimately extract greatness out of your people and level up yourself in the process. And so when you spell out lead, add an extra D, and the L in lead stands for listen. Now I know you've heard this before. Your mama's probably told you, right? Two ears, one mouth for a reason. You need to listen
Oh yeah.
twice as much as you speak, right? So the L in lead stands for listen. And I believe that a lot of leaders miss this key, crucial component. They immediately try to advise people. They immediately try to educate and here's what you need to do and here's how you need to do it. But it starts with listening. Listen to your people. What do they have going on in their lives? What are their stresses? What are their worries? What are their hobbies? What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What are their concerns? What are these areas of their lives that you can touch them and heal them and mend them and mold them and grow them? You can't know these things if you don't open your ears and listen. So I think all leadership starts there. It starts with the letter L, listen. And then I follow that up with the letter E. I think that the letter E, I don't think, the letter E stands for encourage. So once I listen to you, Dom, and I hear what you've got going on, I know what's going on in your life, or you're sharing a story about a problem or a worry or a woe or a win. Once I listen, now it's my job to encourage you. A lot of people go straight into, well, you should have done that, Dom, or you should have done it this way, or maybe you should think like this, or so on and so forth. And they leave out this key, crucial component of encouragement, something that's been like bred into us from the moment we were born. We've always sought encouragement. We want the applause, we want the good jobs, we want the awards, we want the accolades, we want all of these things. We want to be loved and to feel like we're a part of something bigger than ourselves, and that all takes encouragement. So first we listen and then we encourage. Well, Dom, I understand that you might be struggling with that. I do. I understand you're struggling with that, but look at what you've done. Look at how far you've come. Look at all that you've accomplished in the past. And I encourage and change your energy and shift it, right? Shift that energy through encouragement. Bring somebody from a depressed state, from a saddened state, from an anxious state to an uplifted state. Now, once I've listened to you and then I've encouraged you, the next letter in lead is A. So now I've actually earned the right to advise you. I've earned the right to advise my employees after I've listened to them and encouraged them and all the things that they've done right. I can now come in, and I used to do this in my meetings all the time, Dom. I'd go into the meeting and I'd listen to my guys. They were talking about playing Fortnite last night, or talking about the girls they were chasing at the club, or they were talking about whatever they had going on at home. And I'd listen and we'd talk, and I'd encourage them on all the different things they're doing positive. And then once I was done with that, now I could say, look, guys, man, yesterday I had asked you guys to pull all the handles, make sure all the cars on the lot were locked, and y'all didn't do it. What's up with that, man? I asked you to clean up that little area over there by your desk, make sure it was spotless. You didn't do it. I asked you to follow up with that customer on that part that they needed, and you didn't do it. I asked you to go out there and pull that car around for a customer of mine. You didn't do it. Right now, I've earned the right to advise, because first I listened to you, then I encouraged you. Now I can advise you on the areas of your life that you may need to work on. Dom, you can't be staying up till 3 in the morning playing Fortnite, bud. It's not going to be good for your career. Dom, you can't be running around at the bars while your wife's at home with the baby. It's not good for you, Dom. So now I can advise. We've got a relationship. So listen, encourage, advise. We follow that up with the D in lead stands for to develop. So once you tell somebody an area or you advise them on an area that they are flawed or that they need help or that they are struggling, you now have taken on the responsibility to develop that person in that area. Don't just tell me what I'm doing wrong, but not teach me how to do it right. And a lot of leaders do this. A lot of leaders like to point out where we're wrong, what we're doing wrong, but they don't actually educate us on how to make it better. And then that extra D that I had you add to the end, that extra D stands for daily. You got to do it every single day. Listen, encourage, advise, and develop. Do it daily. You wrap your brain around that. You make that a part of your everyday process, whether it be when you're talking to a customer, talking to your children, talking to employees. You follow that system right there, and brother, it's over.
There you go. Like that Mike Tyson hook, it's over. That's right.
That's it.
That's right. The double D folks really need and that they've been looking for, baby. That's right. Lead with two D's. That's what I'm talking about right there.
That's it.
Yes, indeed. And you said something so powerful, especially in the middle with the advise part, because that's so true. It's like you earn the right to advise someone because a lot of folks nowadays, especially on social media, they want us on top of this virus
Mm-hmm.
nonsense. They want to advise people it's like, hey, you should wear your mask. It says on the TV and all these other places. When at the same time, it's like if they're just opening the door to look outside, I mean, that's something totally different as opposed to actually listening to what's going on in this case, observing the whole situation,
Sure.
and that even inserting some encouragement, like, "Hey, nice day out there. Don't forget to be safe," and things like that, before actually getting to the advised part. And everybody wants to skip to that nowadays, whether they have the true knowledge or not, without following the first two parts.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. And we all see how well that works.
Yeah, yeah, it's like that Jack in the Box. It's like you roll the box and the music keeps playing and nothing comes out because they just stay in the box. They
That's
don't come
it.
out.
Just stay in the box.
Oh man, oh man. And funny enough, and I think that actually also goes with helping folks to feel visible because a lot of folks out there, they may even see that opportunity as being visible when a lot of times maybe some folks may feel invisible.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%, man. You want to give somebody value or you want to help someone to feel valued, then just listen to them, man. That's really all you got to do, man. Listen, I remember when I was homeless, one of the worst things about being homeless, man, it's not about being broke sucks, don't get me wrong, but it's not about being broke. It's not about being hungry. It's the worst part about being homeless is being invisible, man. Being invisible. No one will make eye contact with you because they think you're going to ask them for money or they think that you're going to mug them or something, right? So nobody will make eye contact with you. Nobody wants to hear what you have to say, and you literally just become invisible. Like you don't have a voice, you don't have worth, you don't have value. And when you reach a point like that, man, it's a dark, dark place, brother. It's a dark, dark place. So people just want people it's in our DNA, it's bred into us, people need to be heard and they deserve to be heard. So if we start all of our communications, if we start everything as with that word, if we start everything with that word listen, it changes everything.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All the quarters will come to you after that. That's how you change it. That's right. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
indeed. Yes, indeed. And what's even better about that whole system is that you put the daily at the end because it's like a reminder of, hey, this doesn't stop on 1 or 2 days or 1 or 2 months. It's something you have to do daily. So, with really after a while, sometimes folks may listen to a lot of people so much that they actually don't give themselves maybe that quiet time and they're tired of listening to people. What what do you do to be able to keep your listening muscle with your ears open to being able to do that daily? Especially since you're a family man too with 7 kids. I'm pretty sure you do a lot of listening 24/7.
I do, man. I do. Well, having this acronym, helps me a lot. But really, for me, the biggest separator from the highly successful, and those that reach high levels of success, and those that don't, I think that the biggest separator is that the highly successful have they hit the reset button every day. So I truly believe this, that if you change the way people start their day, it'll make a massive impact in their life. And so I start off every day the same way. I wake up at 3:50 a.m. I don't hit the snooze button. I immediately put music in my ears that is instrumental with no words so that my thoughts cannot be swayed by the outside world. And I sit down and I write down 10 things that I'm thankful for. I follow that up by 10 goals, some daily, some monthly, some long-term goals. I write those down and I spend some time in prayer, meditation, thought. I make sure to take care of myself physically. And I always, every single day, I make sure to send out an encouraging message to someone somewhere, whether it be a text message, whether it be a Facebook message, something to my wife, or a handwritten note, whatever. And by doing these 5 things every single day, no snooze button, no phone first thing in the morning, right? I do not get on my phone first thing in the morning. Instead, I just put on some instrumental music. So no snooze, no phone, gratitude and goals, which sounds like 2 steps, but really it's just one, because I believe that if you write goals without gratitude, then those are just wishes, and they can actually have a negative effect on your energy instead of a positive effect. If you're sitting there going, wish I had, wish I had, wish I had, versus I'm grateful I have, and let's stretch for some more. So that's my third step. And then the fourth thing, taking care of the physical, and fifth, sending out a message. By doing those 5 things every single day, it allows me to reset. It allows me to center. It makes every day its own. Every day is individual. What happened yesterday is now gone, and all I have is what's in front of me. And so I highly suggest for people that are if you're in a rut, or things feel mundane, or you can't break out of a cycle or a habit, I suggest getting that daily reset button as part of your routine. Get that daily reset button. And if you want to hit those 5 things like over again, you can go to, I actually have an ebook on this that you can download for free at themorning5.com. And that's the number 5, themorning5.com. You can download it, and it's got these 5 steps. But that's what I feel really is the key on how I continue to have the energy I need to keep rising.
Oh yeah, that's right. To keep rising and transforming indeed. That's what I'm talking about right there. All the keys. That's right. To the 5 magical calls, baby. That's right. That.
I like that.
That's right. Make it 900% this year, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. But I love what you said there about the whole goals without gratitude is simply a wish, because it's like, wow, I never heard it explained that way, because in a way it kind of does make sense, because with goals, a lot of folks usually base their goals off of past achievements and what they think they want their future to look like, and just recreating the past. But with more, and really to have more, you got to be grateful for what you have.
You have to, man. I mean, if you're just sitting there, you're just sitting there. Like, imagine, just I can't even imagine it. It's hard for me to grasp. You're just sitting there every morning going, man, my life sucks. I wish I had more. Man, this house sucks. I wish I had more. Man, my car sucks. I wish I had a different one. Man, I don't make enough money. I wish I could make more money. Right? Like, that's what it looks like to me when someone's writing goals without gratitude. Is you're downplaying how far you've already come. you're not, or you have zero appreciation for the things that you have in your life, and you're stretching for more. And I think that somewhere along the line we started teaching people that goals was the most important aspect, when it's really not the goals. Gratitude is the most important aspect. You are a champion. Think about all that you've survived to get to where you are today. Think about all that you've accomplished, all that you've acquired, all the lives that you've impacted, the people that you've touched. Like, you should celebrate that every single day. Human beings don't celebrate enough, Dom. They just don't celebrate enough, man. And you should celebrate who you are and all that you've done every single day. And after we've done a quick little victory lap, right? I don't tell anyone go out there and do victory laps. There's no S on right. But after you go do a victory lap, right? Then stretch, man. Maybe we can go faster next time. Maybe we can run harder. Maybe we can get stronger. Maybe we can earn more. Maybe we can learn more. Maybe we can impact more, right? I'm good with that. I'm all about that. We should be evolving every single day into the best versions of ourselves we can possibly be. But take that moment to celebrate. Take that victory lap, man. Start there and then continue to move the needle.
My man just bringing gym after gym, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Folks
Thanks,
gonna have a tennis bracelet of wisdom after this. That's right.
my man.
Yes, indeed. Because that's another powerful point you brought up there. It's like, without really having gratitude first before having your goals, you're downplaying what you've already done. Like, dude,
That's
I've
it.
that's a
That's it.
whole new dimension right there, especially for me, because I never heard it explained that way.
Right. Yeah, man. I don't really even know. I guess I've just been through so much, you know. I've been through so much, and at some point I just reached a realization that I am not any better, any stronger, any different than anybody else. Everybody's gone through so much. Like, if you really think about it, right? Like, I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and a lot of times people are like, you know, God got me through this, God did that, right? So on and so forth. And I do believe that God has his hands in all of our moves and all of our actions. But sometimes I want to go, wait a minute, you were there too. Do you remember that? Like, you were there too when you went through that divorce. You were there too when you went through that death in the family. You were there too when you were down to your last dollar and you didn't know where your next meal was going to come from. Like, you were there too. Yes, God was there and had his hand on it. But don't discredit how powerful you are as a human being, man. Like, people do not value themselves enough. And once I started to realize that, I was like, why is that? And so as I study and I learn, I study and I learn, and I realize it's because it's the struggle that starts when we're little, man. I've got lots of kids, and it's hard to get them to stay grateful, you know, especially now, because they've got the good life, man. My kids are living out on we got 10 acres and a big old house. They got a pond and they got toys and all this stuff, you know, and somebody gives them something, they don't say thank you. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. Back up. Come back here. Come back here, man. Like, you need to be grateful for everything that you received in life, whether you liked it, whether you didn't like it, whether you wanted to go through it or you didn't want to go through it, right? Like, it's all part of this overall tremendous design that is moving you in this powerful direction. And I think just so many people get lost on that. So once I realized not enough people give themselves enough credit, and why, and I thought, well, I mean, here's where it is, man. Even though most people don't write down their goals, the ones that are writing down their goals are writing them down from a place of lack. We add a little bit of gratitude to it. That's the juice. That's the propane. That's the, you know, that's what gets the fire going on. So I started doing that practice myself, and now I teach it to thousands and, you know, tens of thousands of people around the world. It's pretty awesome.
Heck yes, man. Yes, indeed. It's always good to have a fellow believer on the show, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because when it comes to a lot of things, a lot of folks like to especially believers, they they give blame and credit a lot of times where they don't need to, because yes, God's responsible for everything and has a hand in our life, but it's also have to give yourself credit when you may have made that wrong turn, metaphorically made that bad decision. Like, you can't really blame the devil all the time if you decided to keep moving forward with that bad decision to go out with the run out with the girls at the bar when you have a wife and kid at home. Like, that's
Right.
it ain't
That's right.
always the devil. Like, he ain't omnipresent here.
That's right.
He's got heavy influence, but he ain't omnipresent.
I agree 1,000,000%. That's awesome.
Yes, sir, indeed. Yes, sir, indeed. So you got this awesome morning routine all figured out with no snooze button, which is like icing and cherry on top of a cake and a cupcake, heck, even an ice cream sundae. But what does a night routine look like for Glenn? Because I feel like that's something that a lot of folks really don't talk about a lot, is like the night before you start that awesome morning.
So my night, you know, my house is crazy, bro. My house is crazy. So around 8:30, around 8:30 we round up all the kids, right? You got to find them. There's the kids everywhere in my house.
Yep.
So you round up all the kids and we sit down, and every night we ask each of the kids, what was the your favorite part of the day? What was your favorite part of the day? And they go through. It's just another practice in gratitude, right? I want to remind them to be grateful for the gifts that they have. So we do. What was your favorite part of your day? And then one of my kids will do the prayer. We like to teach them early to be comfortable praying and sharing their thoughts and feelings and emotions out loud. So we'll do a nightly prayer, and that all sounds beautiful and wonderful and awesome. But as soon as that's done, then me and my wife have to play whack-a-mole for the next hour, bro. It's like we put this one to bed, and then there's another one behind you. You turn around the corner, there's a goblin over there. Somebody's got somebody's stuck on the toilet. Somebody's trying to get a cookie. It's crazy for about 45 minutes. That's what my wife and I call it. We call it whack-a-mole because we're just hit this one and another one pops out. These kids are popping up everywhere. But once I get them into bed, then my wife and I, that's really our time. So, I wake up at 3:50 in the morning and I'm tired at the end of the night. I go all day, but my wife deserves solo time as well. So from about 9:45 until 11:30, my wife and I spend that time sometimes just watching mindless TV, or maybe eating a late night bowl of ice cream that we shouldn't have, or I just listen. I just let my wife kind of guide that time, whatever she wants to do. If she wants to talk and talk about the kids, or if she's got going on because she homeschools all my kids. So that's kind of our share time. And then 11:30 on the nose. That's the at 11:29 I'm awake, and at 11:30 I go to bed, and then I wake up 4 hours and 20 minutes later and do it all over again.
Oh yeah. So my goodness, some man be running on almost 5 hours of sleep every day.
Yeah, 4 hours 20 minutes, man. 2 sleep cycles.
Okay. So you give yourself a do you give yourself an afternoon nap time too, I guess, during the day?
Nope, no afternoon nap. So my sleep cycles are right at 2 hours and 10 minutes. That's a full sleep cycle. So most people's sleep cycles are between 2 and 3 hours. You see, back in the day when we were like, call it caveman days or whatever, it didn't make sense to go into a coma for 8 hours, right? We didn't have
Yeah.
ADT security systems. Okay. you get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger or something like that. So we sleep in these cycles of a light sleep down into a deep sleep and back into a light sleep. And of course, I'm not a scientist or anything, so I'm not going to give you all the technicalities of it. But what I do know and understand is that everybody's cycles are roughly between 2 and 3 hours. And so I started doing some tweaking with my alarm clocks and different things, because if you can time it to where you wake up right there where you're at peak, like you're at your lightest point in your sleep cycle, before you go down into the next one. If you can time it correctly to wake up in that, then it doesn't matter whether you get 1 sleep cycle, 2 sleep cycles, 3 sleep cycles, 4 sleep cycles, doesn't matter. The amount of rest that you will feel is equal. So if I sleep 2 hours and 10 minutes, I feel exactly the same as if I sleep 420, which is exactly the same as if I sleep 6.5. But if I try waking up anywhere in between there, like if I get 3 hours or 5 hours or 7 hours, then I'm groggy for the next, hour and a half, because basically I woke up while I was in the middle of a deep sleep cycle. So that's why people don't understand, dude. The snooze button is the devil, bro. It sells you 10 more minutes of sleep, 15 minutes of sleep. But what it really does is your body was already programmed. You were already in a light state. Like most people will wake up, 5 minutes before their alarm clock goes off. They don't understand why. It's because you were already in the lightest point of your sleep cycle. Like your body was prepared to wake up, and then you hit the snooze button, you went back to sleep. It now goes into the next sleep cycle. So yeah, you get 10 more minutes of sleep, but you're going to be groggy for the next 2 hours when you do get up, because you slept that extra 10 minutes. Whereas if you would have just put boots on the ground and got after it, you'd feel phenomenal.
Oh, yeah. Yes, indeed. Definitely going to keep that one in mind. Indeed. Definitely going to keep that one in mind because, my goodness, snooze button, that thing is a tool of the devil. It is the devil, man.
It is the devil, brother. It is one of the greatest salesmen in the world right there. I'll give you 10 minutes of sleep in exchange for 2 hours of groggy.
And the thing is, he doesn't tell you about it either. You just have
Yeah.
to feel it.
Yeah, you just do it, and then you do it again the next day, and the next day, and the next day. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, man. Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Some next level high performance right there. That's what I'm talking about. That's right. So, since this isn't your first rodeo, is there a question you wish you'd be asked more often when you're doing interviews like this?
No, man. Like I said, I'm just thankful. I'm thankful to have a voice nowadays. You know, nobody cared or what I had to say. For the longest, people didn't want to talk to me. They didn't want to make eye contact with me. They didn't want nothing to do with me. So an opportunity like tonight, I spent the day I had some friends in from California, and spent some time with my family today, and everything. And then I'm like, hey honey, I get to run to the studio and do an interview with this guy named Dom, on his podcast. And what an incredible opportunity that is. And yes, it's 7 o'clock on a Saturday night, and my wife is so supporting. She's like, all right, honey, go do the thing, because we just both know what it used to be like. And so, as far as anything I wish that somebody would ask me, man, I'm just happy that you're asking me questions. And I appreciate you taking the time to give me a voice, and to hear and to actually care what I have to say,
Woohoo! My pleasure
man.
indeed. My pleasure indeed. Yes, indeed. So I'm pretty sure a lot of folks don't ask you about your Christian experience, man. So how did you become a Christian, man? How'd you find Christ, man?
The craziest thing in the world, man. I was 100% an atheist. Like I was all about the Darwinism, and we were just here and gone. I was totally that way until I was like 30 years old. But this is going to sound really strange. I stumbled in when I was homeless. Somebody brought me this book called Dianetics, and Dianetics led me to the Orange County Church of Scientology. And at the Orange County Church of Scientology, I studied for 6 months, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, just the different parts of us as human beings. And in that, they started talking about this thing called a thetan, which I now know and understand as the soul. But as they were talking about this thing called the thetan, I was like, what? Even over here in Scientology, they're saying that we're 3 parts, right? Mind, body, spirit. And that's basically what they teach originally. Now, from there, I realized that Scientology was not a fit for me. There were things that I didn't agree with or fall in line with some of their activities and actions that went beyond, kind of that point. So I exited from that environment, but it really had opened up my eyes to start exploring, like, what is this spiritual element of us that I didn't really know existed. And so I studied Buddhism, and I studied, Christianity. I studied, things on energy and Reiki and just all this other stuff, right? Just trying to learn, like, what is true about spirituality. And as I went down this journey, because that's what I do, man. I'm a student. Like, I just love to learn. I'm not the type to allow someone else to tell me what to do, think, or believe. That's not my style. I like to learn myself. And so as I studied and I went down this path, it began to become more clear to me, that we are spiritual beings, and that there is a God in heaven who loves and adores us, and who created us, and who has given us gifts and abilities far beyond anything we could possibly imagine. He's given us the power to create, which is the most powerful gift, man. People are like, dude, if you had a superhero power, what would it be? I'm like, dude, we've already got one. We have the power to create. Are you
Nice.
kidding me? We can create life, we can create buildings, we can create businesses, we can create relationships. It's the most incredible gift, is this gift of creation. And so as I learned more about that and studied, and be able to got closer, I found a home with Christianity and with Jesus Christ, and I was baptized. um, I guess about 10 years ago. I was baptized here in Kentucky out at Southland Christian Church, and it's just been an incredible journey, an incredible walk, and to be able to see God just continue to do miracles in my life and the lives of people around me every day is just such a gift, man. Such a gift.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. Congrats on the decade, my friend. That's what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
That's right. A decade of soul salvation. Gotta love it. Yes,
Right?
indeed. Well, I'm not going to tie you up too much longer. So we're coming down to the question that every guest gets to receive, and that is, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you were 25 again, but this time in 2020 with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
I would tell myself that you are most comfortable in life right before death. That's exactly what I tell myself. And you know the story behind this. You've heard it before with the Sean Douglas, but I'll keep it real short because I know we're wrapping this up. But ultimately, I had an experience where I watched my grandfather pass away, and when I watched him pass away, there was a brief moment just before he died. He was riddled with cancer, and he had been in a lot of pain and suffering for a long time. But there was a moment right before he passed away where he was incredibly comfortable. The light had come back on in his eyes. His skin had, like, filled back the color in his skin, and he just had an opportunity to die with his wife of 49 years, wrapped in his arms, and you could just see the comfort. And from that moment forward, I've always reminded myself, that even if it's just for a brief moment, we're most comfortable in life right before death. And so that scares me. Anytime I start to get comfortable, I'm like, whoa, bro, like, are you ready to die? Are you ready to die? I've got, a 21-year-old, a 10-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old, an 18-month-old. Like, Glenn Lundy, are you ready to die? Are you ready to die and allow them to grow up without a father? Are you ready to die knowing that there's so much you've left that's still left on the table? Are you ready to die knowing that there's books in you and there's people's lives that you can impact, right? And so anytime I start to get comfortable, I just remind myself that we're most comfortable in life right before death. And so I challenge you, everybody who listens to this podcast, and I challenge you, Dom, if at any point in your life you start to feel comfortable, I challenge you to go out and stretch, put yourself in uncomfortable positions, continue to grow, unless, of course, you're ready. You're ready to die. Otherwise, quit seeking comfort. There's no solace in comfort. Comfort is not what we were put on this earth for. We were put to continue to stretch, grow, rise, evolve, and make an impact in other people's lives. That's why we're here. And that's what I would tell the 25-year-old me.
Heck yeah, that's right. Gotta stay away from that casket, y'all. Gotta stay away. It's like uncomfortable. Nah,
Nope.
nope. I gotta hug a cactus every day now. Forget that. Like
Wow. Oh, you're crazy, man.
That's right. Gotta get out of my comfort zone. Ah, this darn needles.
Oh, man.
Yep. Usually ask the ladies to clean me up when they tell me I'm a mess, but that's a whole nother situation. So for
Yeah, there
those
you
who
go.
want to keep up with all that you're doing, man, what's the best way for folks to reach out to the wonderful Glenn himself?
Best thing to do is just go to glennlundy.com. If you go to glennlundy.com, it'll link you to my Facebook page, my Instagram page, my YouTube page, all my videos. You can learn more about me, see pictures of my wife, my beautiful kids, all those things. So everything's at glennlundy.com.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Check out the glorious Glenn and all the stuff that he's doing. My man's got the Rise and Grind show, Facebook Live. So for some strange reason, you missed the darn snooze button as you should, and the phone went off and you missed it. The good news is it could still be up there for you to watch later and share with the rest of your family and friends. And be on the lookout for his other books too, because he's got more than that awesome ebook that you can snag for free on his site. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, any parting words for the folks still listening, Glenn?
No, man, again, I appreciate being here, and just go out there and continue to become the absolute best version of yourself that you can be. That's why we're here. Make that impact.
You just got done listening to another powerful, power packed episode of the Going North podcast. I hope you really enjoyed what you heard. You made it all the way to the end. You get to hear all sorts of goodness. I was the best, but you just got done hearing some goodness. Go check out the guest stuff. It's all in the show notes on the website, dombrightman.com, and also reach out to those that you've just heard as well. And keep rocking it, because you yourself are phenomenal for making it this far, and keep going north.